There is a quiet space within each of us, a sanctuary hidden beneath the noise of thoughts and the rush of the world. It is here, in the stillness of our own hearts, that we may begin to hear the whispers of our true selves. The world outside may clamor for attention, yet there exists a voice far gentler, yet far more profound, calling us inward. As Ibn Arabi once reflected, the heart is the throne of the real. It is a mirror in which the divine manifests, a reminder that the essence we seek is not beyond us, but already within, awaiting recognition. To pause and listen is to embark on a journey that transcends the ordinary. It is to step beyond the habitual patterns of our minds and to enter into a dialogue with the deepest part of ourselves. The heart, in its quiet wisdom, speaks not in words alone, but in sensations, subtle impulses, and the sudden clarity that emerges in moments of attention. Rumi, the eternal poet of the soul, said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." These words remind us that guidance often comes not from logic, but from the magnetism of what resonates within, from the inner compass that never fails. To be drawn inward is to encounter a world untouched by judgment, a space where intuition can blossom, and every subtle feeling carries significance. Yet, even as we are drawn inward, we encounter the obstacles of the mind. Doubts rise like restless winds, fears stir like shadows along the path, and the incessant chatter of the world can seem insurmountable. But notice, these disturbances are not signs of failure. They are merely the background against which the quiet voice of the heart can become audible. To hear it, one must cultivate patience, gentleness, and above all, attention. To sit in silence, even briefly, is to honor this hidden guide, to let the light within illuminate what is usually unseen. Imagine, for a moment, a vast desert under the early morning sky. The winds may scatter the sand, the heat may press upon your senses, yet beneath it all lies a well of cool, life-giving water. So too is the heart. Beneath the distractions, beneath the turmoil, there flows a source of clarity, of insight, and of peace. Hafiz once said, "The sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky." Here, love becomes the lens through which the heart communicates, selfless and illuminating, offering guidance without demand or expectation. As we journey inward, consider the gentle metaphor of a flame within. It is not a roaring fire, but a small, steady light. When surrounded by wind or shadow, the flame flickers, yet it persists. Each moment spent in conscious attention nourishes this light, and gradually, the darkness recedes. The flame is the inner presence, the intuition, the soft whisper of what is aligned, true, and essential. By tending to it, by offering it our attention and care, we allow insight to emerge organically, without force and without resistance. Rumi continues to illuminate this path. Respond to every call that excites your spirit. Each subtle inclination, each gentle yearning, carries wisdom. By noticing it, by following it, we gradually attune to the rhythms of our own being. Even the smallest gesture, pausing to feel a sensation, acknowledging a fleeting thought, or listening to a quiet emotion, becomes a thread in the tapestry of awareness. Through these threads, we weave a living connection with the heart, one that endures amidst the noise and complexity of life. Ibn Arabi offers yet another reflection. When the heart is open, the world itself becomes a mirror of divine presence. This suggests that inner clarity transforms perception. By cultivating the heart, we begin to see the world differently, recognizing beauty, subtlety, and meaning where before there was only chaos. The practice of returning inward, of observing and attending, allows the ordinary to become extraordinary, and the unseen to be revealed. As we begin this journey together, allow yourself to release expectation. There is no right way to feel, no timetable to follow, only the invitation to listen. Let the words of these sages serve as gentle guides, not commands. Listen to the rhythm of your own breath, the subtle thrum of life coursing through your veins, and let these sensations anchor you in the present. Each heartbeat is a reminder, each inhale a call to presence, each exhale an opportunity to release the unnecessary. In the coming moments, we will explore what it means to truly heed the heart, to discern its subtle language, and to align our lives with its guidance. We will encounter stories, reflections, and teachings that have traveled through centuries, carrying the wisdom of those who have walked this path before. And through it all, remember, the voice you seek has always been speaking. Perhaps now, with intention and attention, you are ready to hear it more clearly. There is a subtle distinction between hearing and truly listening. Many hear sounds, words, or advice. Yet listening, the kind that awakens the soul, requires presence, patience, and an openness that transcends the surface. The heart communicates in whispers, often drowned out by the demands of logic, fear, or routine. Recognizing its voice is not merely an act of attention, it is an act of trust. Ibn Arabi teaches us, "He who knows his own heart knows his Lord," a profound reminder that awareness of the inner self is the gateway to understanding the greater reality. To recognize the heart's voice is to acknowledge that within us resides a mirror of the divine, reflecting wisdom that is timeless and intimate. The voice of the heart is rarely loud. It often manifests as a gentle inclination, a fleeting insight, or a sudden clarity in moments of calm. Rumi expresses this beautifully, "Don't get lost in your pain, know that one day your pain will become your cure." Here, the heart is not merely a receiver of emotion, but a guide, showing the path even through suffering. Listening deeply, we begin to perceive patterns, subtle nudges, and resonances that point toward choices aligned with truth. It is as if a quiet current flows beneath the surface of life, guiding those who are willing to immerse themselves in its presence. Yet, recognizing the heart's guidance requires courage, for it asks us to confront the habitual tendencies of the mind. The mind produces many voices, fears, desires, doubts, and memories, all competing for attention. The challenge lies in distinguishing between the ephemeral echoes of the ego and the enduring guidance of the heart. Meister Eckhart once said, "The soul is dyed with the color of its thoughts." Here, we see that clarity emerges only when we cultivate awareness of the patterns of thought, noticing which stir peace and which stir restlessness. Consider a story from the Sufi tradition. A seeker approached his master, troubled by uncertainty and doubt. "How will I know the path is right?" he asked. The master pointed to a still pond and said, "Look at the reflection. It is not disturbed by your questioning. It simply mirrors the truth." The seeker understood that by quieting the mind and observing without attachment, the reflection, the truth of the heart, becomes visible. In life, as in the pond, disturbances are inevitable, but clarity is always accessible to those who pause and attend. Think of the heart as a musical instrument, delicate and intricate. Hafez reminds us, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky." The heart, like the sun, offers guidance freely and abundantly, illuminating the path for those who are willing to perceive it. By attuning to this inner light, we learn to follow subtle inclinations, gentle nudges, and insights that emerge when we least expect them. The process of recognizing the heart's voice is not linear. It is a practice of returning again and again to the present moment, noticing sensations, emotions, and fleeting thoughts without judgment. Visualization can aid this process. Imagine a soft light glowing in your chest, expanding gently with each breath, radiating warmth and clarity throughout your body. Sense how it illuminates each thought, each feeling, each decision, providing guidance that is both gentle and unwavering. Every heartbeat, every inhalation, every moment of attention reinforces this connection. Jalaluddin Rumi writes, "You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life?" These wings are the subtle impulses, inspirations, and insights of the heart. Recognizing them is the first step toward flight. With practice, awareness, and patience, the whispers of intuition become louder, more distinct, and ultimately, actionable. Each moment of noticing, of pausing, of reflecting, deepens our resonance with the inner voice, and allows us to navigate life not merely by reaction, but by alignment with our true self. Through reflection, meditation, and conscious observation, we begin to notice patterns. Thoughts that consistently mislead, emotions that cloud judgment, and habitual reactions that obscure insight. Recognizing these is not a condemnation, but a necessary step toward alignment. By understanding the nature of distraction and disturbance, We create the conditions for the heart to speak without interference, allowing its timeless guidance to inform our choices, our perceptions, and our living. The heart is a teacher, ever patient, ever present, guiding us toward the clarity, love, and authenticity that reside within. Even as we learn to recognize the voice of the heart, we are confronted with inevitable obstacles. The mind, restless and insistent, produces a constant stream of thoughts, doubts, and judgments. These mental patterns, while necessary for navigating the world, can easily drown the subtle guidance of the heart. It is said that the mind speaks in many languages: logic, fear, memory, and anticipation. Yet the heart speaks in silence, in subtle intuition. To listen to it, we must first learn to distinguish its quiet tone from the ceaseless chatter of the mind. Ibn Arabi reminds us, "The heart is a thousand-stringed instrument. Only the hand of the divine can make it sound harmonious." Each string represents a facet of our awareness, and each disturbance, a note out of tune. The world, society, and even our own habits constantly pluck these strings, creating dissonance that can confuse or mislead. Yet, by cultivating awareness, patience, and inner stillness, we begin to sense the strings that resonate with truth and the ones that merely echo fear, doubt, or expectation. Rumi, ever the poet of the soul, writes, "You were born with wings, why prefer to crawl through life?" Within these words lies a profound truth. Within us exists the capacity for vast freedom, yet attachments, anxieties, and patterns often hold us back. Fear is one of the most subtle obstacles, convincing us that listening to the heart is risky, that intuition may fail, or that desires are illusions. Observing fear without judgment allows the heart's guidance to emerge more clearly, transforming resistance into insight. Distractions abound, not just internal, but external. The world calls for attention with 1,000 demands: work, social pressures, endless information, and noise. Each pulls at our awareness, scattering it in fragments. In such turbulence, the inner voice can seem distant or faint. Yet every act of conscious return to the present moment, each breath, pause, or acknowledgement of feeling, is a reclaiming of the heart's authority. Even brief moments of mindful attention become threads weaving the fabric of inner clarity. Consider the metaphor of a lamp in a crowded room. When the room is cluttered, the light struggles to illuminate the corners. As the space clears and attention focuses, the lamp's light shines more fully, revealing what was previously hidden. Our hearts operate in the same way. By simplifying, pausing, and creating quiet, the subtle illumination of intuition becomes visible. The obstacles are not enemies, but teachers, showing us where attention is needed, where patience must be exercised, and where the resonance of the heart may be heard most clearly. A story from the Sufi tradition illustrates this beautifully. A young seeker asked his master why, despite meditation and devotion, he still felt lost. The master led him to a quiet river and said, "Do you see how the water moves? Sometimes swift, sometimes still, yet it always finds its way around stones, always reaching its destination." The seeker realized that resistance is natural, but the heart, like the river, finds a path when met with patience and awareness. Meister Eckhart adds, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Resistance, doubts, and inner noise are shadows that give shape to clarity. They teach discernment, patience, and the art of returning to the heart. By observing patterns of distraction, habitual reactions, and internal chatter, we begin to cultivate a sanctuary within, an inner landscape where the heart can speak freely and be heard with precision. Visualization can deepen this understanding. Imagine a small boat on a choppy sea, each wave representing a thought, an emotion, or an external disturbance. The boat rocks and tilts, yet within lies a steady compass, your heart. By focusing on this inner compass, allowing it to guide even as the waves move around, you navigate the turbulence with calm and clarity. Each wave is not a threat but a teacher, showing where attention, patience, and awareness are needed. Through these reflections, stories, and practices, we learn that obstacles are not barriers but essential elements of the journey. The noise of the mind and the turbulence of the world are opportunities to strengthen attention, cultivate discernment, and deepen trust in the heart's guidance. Even in the midst of chaos, the subtle, unwavering voice of the heart is present, waiting to be heard by those willing to pause, observe, and align with its wisdom. The path of listening is not smooth, but through persistence, insight, and gentle awareness, we learn to navigate life with clarity, authenticity, and inner peace. To truly hear the voice of the heart, it is not enough to merely recognize its existence. One must cultivate practices that allow its subtle guidance to surface. The heart speaks most clearly when we are present, when distractions are softened, and when the mind is settled. Presence is not a state achieved through force, but through gentle attention and openness. By dedicating moments each day to mindful awareness, we begin to create the inner conditions necessary for the heart's voice to emerge. Rumi offers guidance through his timeless words, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop." In this metaphor, the shedding of leaves symbolizes the release of thoughts, attachments, and anxieties that obscure clarity. Just as a tree does not cling to its leaves but allows them to fall, we too must learn to let go of mental clutter, habitual judgments, and fear, creating space for the light of intuition to enter. In practice, this can be as simple as a few deep breaths, a moment of silence, or gentle reflection on sensations and feelings. Imagine yourself standing in a forest during autumn. Each leaf that falls represents a thought or worry you release. The ground beneath you becomes fertile for new insights, each inhalation drawing clarity, each exhalation releasing tension. One powerful practice is the art of stillness. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and allow your attention to rest on the rhythm of your breath. Notice the inhalation, the exhalation, and the subtle movements of the body. Thoughts will arise. Acknowledge them without judgment and let them pass, returning gently to the breath. This simple act of mindful presence trains the mind to become a servant to awareness, rather than a tyrant of distraction. Over time, the heart's voice becomes increasingly audible, revealing guidance that may have been obscured by mental chatter for years. Ibn Arabi reminds us, "Know your own heart and you will know all that is hidden." In practical terms, this involves noticing the subtle cues of the body and emotions, a tightening in the chest, a warmth in the stomach, a sudden clarity in the mind. These sensations are often the language of intuition, speaking truths that the intellect may overlook. Journaling can deepen this practice. Write freely for several minutes, noting feelings, insights, or intuitive thoughts without censorship. Over time, patterns emerge, revealing the persistent language of the heart. Another practice is conscious questioning. Ask yourself gently, what does my heart truly desire? What feels aligned and true? Rather than seeking immediate answers, remain with the questions, allowing them to resonate within. Often, insights arise not in response to urgency, but in moments of patient observation. The heart reveals itself through subtle inclinations, quiet nudges, and resonances that guide decisions, actions, and perceptions. Hafiz reflects this approach. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky. Listening to the heart requires patience, generosity of attention, and trust that the guidance is always present. Visualization can also deepen connection. Imagine a soft, radiant light within your chest, pulsing gently with each breath. See this light extending outward, illuminating your thoughts and emotions, dissolving tension and distraction. Sense how the warmth spreads through your body, awakening clarity and calm. Allow this light to illuminate each decision, each challenge, and each interaction, creating harmony between inner guidance and outer life. Over time, the heart's voice becomes not just perceptible, but an integral compass guiding daily living. Sadi, another mystic of timeless wisdom, says, "He who has 1,000 friends has not a friend to spare, but he who has the heart has companions beyond measure." This reminds us that the heart not only guides inwardly but also informs our relationships, choices, and connection with the world. By attuning to its subtle signals, we learn to respond with empathy, compassion, and discernment. Each practice of presence and listening strengthens the bridge between inner guidance and outer action, creating a rhythm of life aligned with authenticity, insight, and love. Through these exercises, mindful presence, reflective observation, conscious questioning, journaling, and gentle visualization, the heart becomes an active participant in the navigation of life. Guidance is not sought outside, it is cultivated within. By attending to these practices, we train ourselves to recognize subtle currents of intuition and the quiet authority of the inner self. With patience and devotion, the heart's guidance transforms from a faint whisper into a persistent, guiding light, illuminating the path of life with clarity, depth, and resonance. Even as we cultivate practices to hear the heart, life presents forces that both support and resist our inner journey. The world around us, relationships, societal expectations, routines, and responsibilities, can either align with our heart's guidance or pull us away from it. Awareness of these influences is essential, for they shape the environment in which our inner voice either flourishes or becomes subdued. Consider the subtle pressures of conformity and expectation. From an early age, we are taught to prioritize external measures of success, to follow paths prescribed by tradition, habit, or opinion. These forces, though often well-intentioned, may obscure the quiet inclinations of the heart. Rumi, in his Eternal Wisdom, cautions, "Do not get lost in your thoughts, or the world will shape you into its image." Here lies the reminder that external guidance must be balanced with inner resonance. The voice of the heart cannot be drowned by the demands of others without risking the loss of authentic living. Support can also emerge in subtle, unexpected ways: a mentor's gentle guidance, a friend's listening presence, a quiet corner in a busy day. Such conditions amplify the heart's clarity, reinforcing habits of presence and awareness. Ibn Arabi reflects this truth: when the heart is at rest, the universe itself becomes a mirror of its clarity. By cultivating both inner stillness and external support, we create a fertile environment in which intuition may flourish. Resistance is inevitable, arising not only from the mind but also from external circumstances. Social pressures, professional demands, and the constant stream of information can fragment attention, leaving little room for introspection. The ego often fears loss of control, dismissing subtle guidance in favor of rational argument or habitual safety. Meister Eckhart notes, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Resistance, doubt, and distraction are shadows that define clarity, providing contrast that allows the heart to shine more vividly. A metaphor helps illustrate this journey. Imagine a young tree growing in a crowded forest. Sunlight is scarce, and wind threatens to bend its branches. Yet, through persistence and adaptation, it finds openings, stretches toward the light, and deepens its roots in the soil. So too do we navigate external pressures and inner resistance. Each challenge teaches patience, discernment, and the art of returning attention to the heart. Obstacles are not enemies but teachers, revealing where alignment is needed most. Visualization can further strengthen awareness. Picture yourself standing in a room filled with noise and chatter. Each sound represents a demand, expectation, or distraction. In the center, imagine a gentle, radiant flame, your heart. With each breath, this flame grows brighter, softly illuminating the room and casting shadows away. Notice how the distractions remain present but no longer overwhelm. Your awareness has expanded to include them without being consumed. In this inner space, clarity, intuition, and alignment emerge naturally. Relationships, too, offer both support and resistance. A friend who listens without judgment can amplify the heart's voice, while a critic may dampen it. Yet even criticism is an opportunity. It highlights areas of attachment, egoic expectation, or fear, showing where attention is needed. Hafiz observes, "The words you speak become the house you live in." By cultivating a heart-aligned inner environment, our interactions, choices, and perception of the world naturally resonate with authenticity, compassion, and insight. Ultimately, navigating support and resistance is an ongoing practice. Reflection becomes crucial. Observe moments when the heart's guidance was clear, when it was ignored, and when external pressures influenced choices. By noticing patterns, we cultivate discernment, patience, and trust. Every conscious act of alignment strengthens the connection between inner guidance and lived reality, allowing intuition to inform decisions with greater subtlety and precision. The journey is not linear. Life's turbulence, noise, and resistance are constant companions, yet the heart remains steadfast. By observing, reflecting, and cultivating awareness, We create the conditions in which its subtle guidance becomes accessible in every circumstance. Be it a demanding workday, a difficult conversation, or the ordinary flow of daily life. Each moment of alignment, patience, and mindful presence reinforces the rhythm of living in harmony with the inner self, gradually transforming ordinary experiences into expressions of insight, clarity, and love. Hearing the heart is only the beginning. The true journey unfolds when we allow its guidance to shape our actions. The transition from awareness to living in alignment requires courage, patience, and deliberate attention. The heart does not demand perfection. It invites authenticity. Each choice made in resonance with the inner voice strengthens clarity and trust, while each misstep offers lessons in discernment and compassion. Hafiz reminds us, an awake heart is like a lamp in the darkness, shining not for itself, but for all who seek. When action is guided by the heart, it radiates beyond the self, touching the world with insight and love. Ibn Arabi writes, "Action without the heart is like a bird without wings. It may move, but it cannot soar." This evokes the profound truth that intellect alone cannot navigate the fullness of life. When decisions, words, and deeds arise from the wisdom of the heart, they carry a subtle harmony, resonating not only within ourselves but also with the world around us. Living by the heart's guidance is not a static ideal. It is a dynamic, ongoing practice that requires mindfulness, reflection, and adaptation. To begin, consider small, deliberate choices. Notice how you respond to others. Do you speak from habit, obligation, or expectation, or do you respond with empathy and intuition? Observe how you allocate time, whether in work, relationships, or personal reflection. Even simple decisions, pausing before reacting, choosing presence over distraction, prioritizing what aligns with inner truth, become exercises in embodying the guidance of the heart. Each conscious action strengthens the connection between insight and lived experience. Visualization can reinforce this transition. Imagine walking through a busy city, surrounded by noise, distractions, and pressures. Within your chest glows a radiant, steady light, the heart. Each step is guided by this inner flame. You speak, choose, and act in alignment with its gentle wisdom. The external world may remain chaotic, yet your movements are calm, precise, and resonant. Over time, this practice transforms ordinary actions into expressions of clarity, courage, and authenticity. Rumi encourages us, respond to every call that excites your spirit. Life presents opportunities in many forms, some obvious, others subtle. By attuning to the heart, we learn to recognize these calls and discern which align with deeper truth. Courage is often required. Following the heart may mean challenging convention, stepping into uncertainty, or embracing vulnerability. Yet each act of alignment strengthens trust, reinforces awareness, and cultivates resilience. Integration also involves embracing imperfection. Fear of mistakes can paralyze, yet the heart invites movement even amidst uncertainty. Observe hesitation without judgment, and then take deliberate, mindful action. Each misstep is an opportunity to refine discernment and deepen understanding. Sadi writes, "The heart sees beyond the eyes. It perceives the unseen and knows what is not spoken." When we allow the heart to guide our actions, we cultivate insight that transcends ordinary perception, enriching both our inner and outer life. Reflection is essential. After each action, pause to observe its impact, internally, emotionally, and energetically, externally, in relationships, work, and outcomes. Notice where alignment brought clarity and ease, and where resistance or distraction shaped decisions. Through such reflection, patterns emerge, illuminating the subtle language of the heart and providing guidance for future choices. Over time, this continuous loop of action, observation, and reflection forms a rhythm of life attuned to inner wisdom. Ultimately, living by the heart is not a destination but an ongoing journey. Each moment offers the opportunity to act with awareness, compassion, and courage. By integrating insight into everyday choices, the heart's guidance becomes embodied, not abstract. It informs relationships, work, creativity, and all aspects of existence. Through conscious attention, practice, and reflection, we gradually transform life into an expression of the inner self, guided by intuition, presence, and love. There is a profound wisdom in nature, a quiet intelligence that speaks to those who pause to observe. The rustling of leaves, the gentle flow of a river, the whisper of wind across a meadow, these are not mere sounds. They are invitations to attune to the subtle currents of life. Just as the heart communicates softly, nature offers guidance in its rhythms, patterns, and stillness. By immersing ourselves in these natural harmonies, we create an environment where the voice of the heart can emerge more clearly. Imagine walking through a dense forest at dawn. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and foliage. Sunlight filters through the canopy, scattering light in fragments, and birds sing quietly in the distance. In this stillness, notice how your attention naturally slows, how your thoughts, once racing, begin to settle. The body relaxes, the mind softens, and the heart opens. Rumi once wrote, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop." In nature, this metaphor becomes tangible. The falling leaves remind us to release mental clutter, to let go of attachments, and to create space for clarity and insight. Silence, like nature, is a powerful ally. In our daily lives, silence is often undervalued, perceived as emptiness or inactivity. Yet it is within silence that the heart becomes audible. Hafiz observes, "The words you speak become the house you live in." Silence allows the inner house of the heart to be furnished with clarity, compassion, and understanding. By dedicating moments of stillness, listening to a quiet stream, feeling the wind on the skin, observing the sky, awareness deepens, and intuition begins to emerge naturally. The interaction between nature and inner awareness can be transformative. Ibn Arabi wrote, "When the heart is at rest, the universe itself becomes a mirror of its clarity." Walking barefoot on soft grass, feeling the rhythm of footsteps aligned with breath, or gazing at the flow of water in a river, all cultivate harmony between body, mind, and heart. This alignment is not merely aesthetic, it is functional, allowing the subtle messages of the heart to penetrate layers of distraction and noise. Consider the metaphor of a mountain lake. At the peak of dawn, the water is still, perfectly reflecting the surrounding peaks and sky. A gentle breeze may ripple the surface, yet the reflection remains visible. The heart is like this lake. Disturbances may arise, yet the underlying clarity persists. Spending time in nature, even briefly, teaches us the art of returning to stillness, observing without judgment, and listening with presence. Each inhalation draws in serenity. Each exhalation releases tension and preconceptions. Silence and nature also cultivate patience. A tree does not hurry to grow, a river does not force its course, and a bird does not rush its song. Meister Eckhart noted, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Nature embodies this principle, showing that growth, understanding, and insight unfold according to their own rhythms. By observing, respecting, and synchronizing with these rhythms, we develop the patience necessary to hear the heart amidst the turbulence of thought and external distraction. The role of nature extends beyond metaphor. It has practical application. Begin by dedicating even a few minutes daily to mindful presence outdoors. Listen to the wind, feel the texture of the ground, watch the patterns of light and shadow. Notice how your body and mind respond. Slowly, subtle insights arise, unforced, arising naturally from the alignment between inner awareness and the world around you. Hafiz reminds us, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky." Nature, like the heart, offers wisdom freely, illuminating perception without demand. In moments of profound silence, we may hear the resonance of all living things. The rustling leaves echo the pulse of life, the river mirrors the flow of consciousness, the wind carries messages of impermanence and renewal. By attuning to these natural harmonies, the heart becomes more sensitive, more discerning, and more confident in its guidance. The subtle currents of intuition, often drowned out by urban noise and internal chatter, regain their prominence, guiding actions, reflections, and decisions with grace and clarity. Ultimately, nature and silence are teachers, allies, and companions on the journey inward. They remind us that wisdom is not always spoken, that insight often arises in stillness, and that the rhythms of life, when observed attentively, reflect the patterns of the heart. By integrating moments of quiet, observation, and immersion in natural surroundings, we nurture the conditions in which the heart's voice becomes vivid, persistent, and unmistakable. In this way, the external world supports the inner journey, preparing us for the practical application of intuition in daily life, which will follow in the next part of our exploration. Living in alignment with the heart requires more than awareness. It requires integration, bringing the subtle guidance of intuition into everyday life. The challenge lies not in hearing the heart, but in acting upon it consistently, amid the demands, distractions, and complexities of daily existence. Hafiz reminds us, an awake heart is like a lamp in the darkness, shining not for itself, but for all who seek. By integrating intuition into action, we allow this inner light to illuminate both our personal path and the world around us. Begin with observation. Notice the small nudges, subtle inclinations, or fleeting thoughts that arise throughout the day. Perhaps a gentle hesitation before speaking, an unexpected insight during routine tasks, or a sudden awareness of emotion. These are the whispers of the heart. Take note of them and gently inquire, what does this suggest? How might it guide my next action? Over time, this habit trains awareness to recognize patterns, discerning the guidance that aligns with truth from the noise of habit or fear. Integration also involves mindful decision-making. At work, for example, allow intuition to influence your approach. Choose projects or collaborations that resonate, act with presence in interactions, and notice how choices affect energy, mood, and effectiveness. In relationships, intuition may guide when to speak, when to listen, or when to create space. Sadi observed, "The heart sees beyond the eyes. It perceives the unseen and knows what is not spoken." Listening to these subtle cues enhances empathy, understanding, and harmonious connection with others. Creativity, too, benefits from heart-centered integration. Whether writing, painting, composing, or problem-solving, pause to attune to inner resonance. Often, the first impulse, the instinctive choice of color, word, or direction, carries the clearest guidance. Rumi said, "Respond to every call that excites your spirit." This is a call to act in alignment with inspiration, allowing intuition to shape creative expression organically rather than forcing outcomes through logic alone. Visualization can strengthen this practice. Imagine a soft light radiating from your chest as you move through daily life. With each action, each decision, conversation, or task, allow this light to guide your steps, illuminating choices in real time. Notice how the world responds. Interactions flow more smoothly, obstacles become opportunities for learning, and moments of clarity arise spontaneously. Each instance of following intuition reinforces confidence in the heart's guidance, creating a feedback loop that strengthens trust. Integration also involves courage. Acting on intuition may sometimes contradict habit, expectation, or societal norms. Resistance may appear, fear, doubt, or external criticism, but these are opportunities for discernment and growth. Meister Eckhart teaches, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Even amidst uncertainty or challenge, acting in harmony with the heart cultivates resilience, clarity, and alignment. Daily reflection is essential. At the end of each day, review decisions and actions. Observe moments when the heart's guidance was heeded, when it was ignored, and the resulting outcomes. Over time, this reflective practice sharpens intuition, highlights recurring patterns, and strengthens the ability to respond with awareness rather than reaction. Each reflection becomes a mirror, showing how the inner compass aligns with the outer world. Finally, trust the subtlety of guidance. Intuition is not always dramatic or urgent. It often emerges as quiet nudges, fleeting thoughts, or a gentle sense of rightness. Hafiz reminds us, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky." By responding with patience, attentiveness, and courage, we cultivate the capacity to integrate heart-centered awareness into daily life, transforming ordinary moments into acts of wisdom, love, and authenticity. Through consistent observation, mindful decision-making, creative attunement, reflection, and courage, the heart's guidance becomes embedded in life. Each step taken in alignment reinforces awareness, strengthens trust, and cultivates harmony between inner wisdom and external action. In this way, intuition is not a distant ideal, but a practical living force, informing choices, shaping relationships, and illuminating the path of daily life. As this integration deepens, we are prepared to enter the final part of our journey, the spacious, enduring sanctuary of the heart itself. The journey of the heart is deepened not only through awareness and integration, but also through the cultivation of daily rituals. Rituals are deliberate, repeated practices that create a sacred container for attention, reflection, and alignment. They remind us to pause, to notice, and to return to the subtle guidance of the heart, even amidst the busyness of life. Begin with simple morning rituals. Upon waking, take a few moments to sit quietly, allowing the mind to settle. Breathe deeply, feeling the rise and fall of the chest, and imagine a gentle light expanding from your heart. This practice establishes a tone for the day, connecting intention with presence. Rumi advises, let yourself be silently drawn by the stronger pull of what you really love. By starting the day with heart-centered attention, the inner guidance begins to shape each moment organically. Midday pauses offer another opportunity. During work, study, or routine activities, briefly close your eyes, place a hand over the heart, and check in with your inner state. Notice tension, stress, or distraction, and allow each exhalation to release resistance. Hafiz wrote, "The words you speak become the house you live in." These small moments of attunement ensure that the space of the heart remains active, not confined to meditation or reflection alone, but integrated into living. Evening reflection is a crucial ritual. Before sleep, review the day with gentle awareness. Which moments were guided by intuition? Where did the mind, fear, or habit dominate? What insights or feelings arose that may have been overlooked in the rush of activity? Ibn Arabi reminds us, know your own heart and you will know all that is hidden. By dedicating time to reflection, we strengthen memory of inner signals, refine discernment, and cultivate trust in the subtle voice that directs authentic living. Movement and embodiment also serve as rituals. Walking, yoga, or mindful stretching connect attention to the body, reinforcing the link between heart and action. Visualize each movement as an expression of awareness, each step or stretch guided by subtle intuition. Meister Eckhart observed, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Physical rituals help navigate these shadows, keeping attention present, grounded, and harmonized with inner guidance. Gratitude is another powerful daily practice. Take moments to acknowledge the small gifts of life, the warmth of sunlight, the taste of food, the sound of laughter, or the presence of a supportive friend. Sadi said, "The heart sees beyond the eyes. It perceives the unseen and knows what is not spoken." Gratitude opens the heart, creating space for insight, compassion, and resilience. It reinforces the habit of noticing subtle guidance in all aspects of experience, turning ordinary life into a living meditation. Finally, journaling or creative expression can serve as a ritual to anchor awareness. Writing down thoughts, feelings, or intuitive insights nurtures clarity and allows reflection beyond fleeting moments. Rumi encourages, respond to every call that excites your spirit. Recording these calls preserves them, strengthens attention, and provides a map for future actions guided by the heart. Through these daily rituals, morning meditation, midday pauses, evening reflection, embodied movement, gratitude, and journaling, the heart's voice becomes woven into the fabric of daily life. They create continuity, reinforcing awareness, cultivating trust, and transforming intuition into lived experience. By committing to such rituals, we prepare the inner space to receive insight, navigate life with authenticity, and move seamlessly into the final sanctuary of the heart, explored in the concluding part of this journey. Breath is the bridge between body and spirit, a subtle rhythm that carries the whispers of the heart. Every inhale nourishes awareness. Every exhale releases tension, fear, and distraction. By paying attention to the breath, we create a direct channel to the inner self, a connection that deepens presence, insight, and clarity. Rumi reminds us, When you let go of your breath, you let go of your thoughts, and when you let go of your thoughts, the heart speaks. Through conscious breathing, we cultivate a receptive state where the heart can emerge without interference from the noise of the mind. Begin with a simple practice. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and observe the natural flow of your breath. Do not force it, simply notice. Imagine the air entering as a gentle light filling the chest, expanding warmth and awareness through the body. As you exhale, visualize tension, doubt, or distraction leaving with the breath. The rhythm of inhale and exhale becomes a dance, harmonizing mind, body, and heart. Hafiz notes, even a moment of deep breath connects you to the eternal. Each breath is an opportunity to return attention to the center, where clarity and intuition reside. Movement deepens this connection. Walking slowly, with full awareness of each step, aligns the rhythm of the body with the pulse of the heart. Visualize each footfall sending energy up through the spine, opening the chest, and allowing the heart to communicate. Yoga or gentle stretching offers similar benefits, grounding awareness in physical sensations. Meister Eckhart observes, "The body is the soul's instrument. Play it with attention." The body becomes a living conduit, amplifying the voice of the heart through posture, balance, and motion. Breath and embodiment can be integrated into daily routines. On a busy day, pause for a single, conscious breath before responding to a situation. While walking to a destination, feel each movement and the subtle guidance it evokes. When stressed or anxious, allow the body to soften with exhalation, letting tension melt and awareness return to the heart. Over time, these small practices compound, transforming ordinary actions into meditative expressions of alignment. Visualization enhances embodiment. Imagine your body as a vessel, each organ, limb, and cell glowing softly in harmony with your heartbeat. With each inhalation, light flows upward. With each exhalation, it spreads outward, illuminating thoughts, decisions, and emotions. The body is no longer a separate instrument. It becomes the medium through which the heart communicates, guiding each step with wisdom and clarity. Sadi teaches, "The heart sees beyond the eyes, it perceives the unseen." Embodiment allows us to feel this unseen, translating subtle insights into tangible action. Breath is also a tool for navigating emotional waves. Fear, anger, or doubt may arise suddenly, but by returning to mindful breathing, we stabilize the mind and restore connection with the heart. Each breath acts as an anchor, rooting awareness in the present moment, fostering patience, clarity, and trust. Rumi writes, "The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you, don't go back to sleep." In this context, the breath is the dawn, awakening insight and guiding attention towards subtle truths. By weaving conscious breath, movement, and visualization into daily life, we strengthen the heart's presence in all activities. The body is no longer a passive container. It becomes an active participant in inner listening. Each step, stretch, or breath serves as a practice in alignment, fostering sensitivity, courage, and clarity. As awareness of breath deepens, the whispers of the heart grow louder, ready to inform decisions, relationships, and creative endeavors with precision and grace. Ultimately, the role of breath and embodiment is to cultivate integration, connecting mind, body, and heart into a unified flow. By attending to this connection consistently, the heart becomes a living guide, accessible in the quiet of meditation, the motion of daily life, and the challenges that inevitably arise. Through conscious breath, embodiment, and presence, we honor the body as a vessel of wisdom, allowing intuition to manifest seamlessly in the world around us. Life is never without its turbulence. Challenges, conflicts, unexpected events, and everyday pressures test our ability to remain connected to the heart. Yet it is precisely in these moments that the guidance of the heart becomes most essential. Hafiz writes, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky." Similarly, the heart continues to guide silently, even amidst chaos, if we allow ourselves to listen. Begin by noticing the subtle signals that arise during stress. A quickening heartbeat, a tightening of the chest, a fleeting thought or impulse. These are messages from the heart or intuition. Rather than reacting immediately, pause for a breath. Observe sensations, emotions, and thoughts without judgment. Rumi advises, don't get lost in your thoughts, wander instead into the heart. This pause creates space for clarity, allowing the next action to be aligned with inner guidance rather than habitual response. Visualization can help navigate challenges. Imagine standing in a storm. Wind, rain, and turbulence surround you. At your core, however, there is a quiet flame, the heart. It remains steady, illuminating the path through the storm. Each decision, word, or gesture guided by this light acts like a gentle anchor, steadying not only yourself but also the environment around you. Meister Eckhart notes, the soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light. The storm represents the shadow. The heart is the guiding light. Practical strategies help integrate the heart's guidance under pressure. One is micropauses. Even a single breath or a subtle shift in attention can restore clarity. Another is reflective questioning. Ask, what feels aligned with my inner truth? Or, which response nurtures awareness and compassion? By consistently practicing such techniques, intuition becomes more reliable, and confidence in the heart's voice grows. Stories of daily life illustrate this principle. Imagine a disagreement at work. The instinctive reaction may be defensiveness or impatience. By pausing, observing emotions, and listening inwardly, the heart may suggest empathy, measured speech, or temporary silence. This does not avoid reality. Rather, it ensures actions are intentional and effective. Sadi reminds us, the heart sees beyond the eyes. It perceives the unseen and knows what is not spoken. Even subtle choices carry impact, rippling outward in relationships and outcomes. Emotional turbulence, fear, grief, frustration, is also a teacher. Recognize and honor these feelings without judgment. The heart's guidance often speaks through them, signaling needs, boundaries, or areas requiring attention. Hafiz writes, the wound is where the light enters you. Difficult moments illuminate inner wisdom, resilience, and clarity when met with presence and openness. Challenges may also demand courage. Acting on intuition can contradict habit, social expectation, or immediate comfort. Rumi says, respond to every call that excites your spirit. Following this call requires bravery, trust, and commitment to authenticity. Each successful navigation of challenge reinforces confidence in the heart's wisdom, demonstrating that alignment is possible even amid complexity. Ultimately, listening to the heart amidst life's challenges is a practice of patience, awareness, and courage. Each pause, each breath, each intentional response strengthens the connection between insight and action. The heart becomes a steadfast companion, offering guidance that is subtle yet profound, personal yet universally resonant. By consistently engaging in this practice, the heart's voice remains vibrant and reliable, illuminating the path through difficulty and transforming challenges into opportunities for growth, wisdom, and presence. In addition to mindful pauses and reflective questioning, consider creating a mental sanctuary during moments of stress. Visualize a protective space within the chest, a luminous sphere where clarity, compassion, and wisdom reside. When external pressures rise, mentally return to this sanctuary. Feel its boundaries softly expand, allowing tension to diffuse. Ibn Arabi reminds us, the heart is a thousand-stringed instrument. Only the hand of the divine can make it sound harmonious. Each challenge plucks a string, but the sanctuary keeps the melody aligned, allowing guidance to emerge even when the outer world is turbulent. Another practice is the conscious naming of emotions. When fear, frustration, or anger arises, silently acknowledge, this is fear, this is impatience, this is grief. Naming creates distance between the self and the emotional wave, permitting observation rather than reaction. As the mind observes, the heart can offer insight, perhaps a compassionate response, a temporary retreat, or a creative solution. Rumi notes, try to accept the changing seasons of your heart, even as you would the seasons of the sky. Emotions are seasons. The heart provides a compass to navigate them. Even ordinary moments can be turned into practice opportunities. Waiting in line, commuting, or responding to emails can become chances to check in with the heart. Pause for a breath, notice tension, and ask, "What does my heart suggest here?" Over time, these small attentions compound, training awareness and reinforcing the reliability of intuition. Hafiz reminds us, "The garden of the heart is tended by the hand of patience and reflection." Even amidst mundane tasks, the heart flourishes when attended to consistently. Finally, cultivate gratitude for challenges themselves. Each difficulty is an invitation to deepen presence, strengthen discernment, and exercise courage. Meister Eckhart observed, "If the soul could see the treasures hidden in its trials, it would bow in gratitude." Viewing challenges as teachers transforms resistance into growth, fear into opportunity, and chaos into clarity. By practicing in this way, we train the heart to be resilient, responsive, and luminous in every circumstance. As our journey together draws to a close, we arrive at the quiet space of the heart, a sanctuary that has always been present, even if unnoticed. This space is not created by effort, nor claimed through achievement. It exists naturally, patiently, waiting for recognition. It is within this inner domain that clarity, peace, and insight reside, accessible at any moment when attention is offered with sincerity. Rumi reminds us, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Here, the heart teaches that even difficulties, uncertainties, and struggles carry wisdom. Each challenge encountered along the path toward listening and living in alignment with the heart becomes an opportunity to deepen understanding and trust. In embracing vulnerability, we cultivate resilience. In acknowledging limitations, we recognize the potential for growth. The heart is not a distant ideal, but a living guide, present in every breath, every choice, every moment of awareness. To dwell in the space of the heart, begin with simple awareness. Close your eyes and feel the rhythm of your breathing. Sense the gentle rise and fall of the chest, the quiet pulse within. Imagine a soft light radiating from your heart, expanding outward to illuminate thoughts, emotions, and sensations. Let this light dissolve tension, release distraction, and bring clarity. See how it flows into the body, filling each limb, each organ, and each thought with warmth and understanding. This visualization is a reminder that the heart space is always available, and that presence, even brief, reconnects us with the deepest aspects of our being. Ibn Arabi writes, "The heart is the place of witnessing, in it all things are reflected." Within this reflection, we find the interconnectedness of all experiences, the joys, the sorrows, the mundane, and the sublime. By returning to the heart consistently, we cultivate awareness of this subtle interweaving, allowing intuition to guide decisions, creativity to flow, and compassion to emerge naturally. The heart becomes both mirror and compass, illuminating the path forward while reflecting the depth of our inner world. Consider the metaphor of a still lake at dawn. The surface is smooth and reflective, capturing the sky, the trees, and the light without distortion. When ripples appear, they eventually settle, returning the lake to clarity. So too does the heart reflect truth more clearly when the disturbances of thought and distraction subside. Through consistent practice, meditation, and mindful reflection, the inner landscape achieves this stillness, allowing insight and wisdom to arise effortlessly. As you move from this reflection into daily life, remember that the journey does not end here. Each day offers countless opportunities to practice listening, discerning, and acting from the guidance of the heart. Let curiosity, patience, and gentleness accompany you. When moments of distraction arise, return to the rhythm of your breath. When uncertainty appears, invite the heart's insight. Hafiz encourages, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that, it lights the whole sky." By cultivating such radiant attention within, we allow our inner light to shine, unbound by expectation or fear. Meister Eckhart reflects, "The soul must journey through shadows to arrive at the light." Each shadow, each difficulty, each moment of doubt is part of the terrain through which clarity emerges. By honoring both light and shadow, we integrate all aspects of experience, recognizing that every challenge offers the opportunity to deepen awareness, compassion, and alignment. In this integration, The heart becomes a living guide, responsive, present, and steady, leading us toward authenticity and fulfillment. In closing, honor the voice of your heart. Nurture it, attend to it, and let it illuminate both the ordinary and extraordinary aspects of your life. Return often to its quiet sanctuary, tend to its flame with presence, and allow its light to inform your actions, relationships, and creative endeavors. Sadi says, "The heart sees beyond the eyes, it perceives the unseen and knows what is not spoken." By listening, reflecting, and aligning with this inner wisdom, we participate in a timeless tradition, joining countless seekers, mystics, and poets who have walked the path of awareness, connection, and love. May the journey within continue, ever deeper, ever brighter, and may the heart always guide your steps.